For over 2 decades, we've been watching Chris Anthony take us around the world and tell us stories on skis. Well, we've got a special story that he wants to tell. We want to let you know more about it, and it has to do with the 10th Mountain Division. We're at the Colorado Snow Sports Museum with Chris. And Chris, a great new exhibit here at the museum, but these guys have a lot of stories that need to be told, and you're really passionate about the 10th Mountain Division.
I am. I became very passionate about it. I grew up in the valley here, so we're surrounded by it. It was about 10 years ago when I started actually asking the questions, who were they? And that led to the development of a documentary we called Climb to Glory, and that came out, 6-7 years ago. And then after that, all of a sudden, of course, tons of other stories started dropping in my lap, and one has really just keeps finding me and grabbing at me, and it's the story I need to tell next.
Okay, yes, and you're going to be taking us over to Italy, Slovenia, sort of where they basically were fighting the battles of World War II.
Well, the secret to this one is the catalyst was that there was actually a ski race held June 3rd, 1945 in northeastern Italy, in the former Yugoslavia, and what is now Slovenia. So that's a lot to keep track of. But so far there's no documentation that the 10th Mountain Division was even there. So what happened was 10th Mountain Division, US, the Army, everybody, the Allies defeated Germany, May 1945. The war was over in Europe as we thought, but Yugoslavia invaded Italy. And they came over a mountain range called the Julian Alps, the northeastern corner of Italy. And all of a sudden, the 10th Mountain Division was given another set of orders, and that was to go push the Yugoslavian army back over these mountains. And they were successful. Luckily, no shots were fired. It was the start of sort of a short Cold War. But right after, when they did it successfully, they had to stay there. During their campaign against Germany, they captured all their ski gear, their alcohol, their climbing gear. So in this part of Italy, when they got there and they had pushed the Yugoslavian army across, they looked up, they saw a big mountain with a snowfield on it, and decided to hold a ski race, which I think is just amazing.
Oh my God. And they had international people there. It wasn't just them, right?
Well, you know, the 10th Mountain Division was made up of such an international group of men. It was unbelievable. So, I mean, the winner of the race was actually Walter Prager, who was actually the current world champion prior to the war. So it was a real field. Steve Knowlton, famous Aspenite, was second. I need to look down the list. There's 73 guys raced, 23 finished. And
wow.
Just the story itself, you know, in the middle of all this turmoil in the world, in this part of the world, these guys, they're still, you know, young 20s, decide, let's go up there and have a ski race.
Ski race. Okay, perfect. Well, we want to help make this happen. Mm-hmm. You're looking for whether it's donations or help telling this story.
Well, first of all, yeah, if you have a relative that was in the 10th Mountain Division, there's a closet filled with pictures, please go into it and look and see if there's anything there, because this is so undocumented, and we're going to have to go recreate the race itself to work for this documentary. And of course, I'm doing this as a not-for-profit documentary, so I'm just kind of doing this as a passion project. In the end, when I get done, it's going to be given to the museum, it's going to be given to schools, we're going to use it for education. It's not for profit, and it's for the purpose of telling their great story.
All right, well, Chris, how can we become involved?
Yeah, well, if you want to actually, if you really want to become involved, the people that want to donate like $1,000 or more, you can be part of the film. Like, we'll put your name in the credits, and you know, there might be some parts where
put you in a little ski outfit.
Yeah, they have an extra or anything, but any donation will help. It's all tax deductible, and it's through my youth project. And you just go to chrisanthony.com and you go to my youth project page, and there's a donation thing there, and you can earmark it that it's specifically for this, and I'll make sure you're part of the credits.
Okay, the lost information. How did that race happen? We want to find out with Chris Anthony's Passion Project.